Hi guys, I'm Karen, and I just wanted to give you a few tips on how to set up your 21-day fix meal plan. So when I first started, it was kind of confusing. There was a lot going on. I read the book, I read it again, and I still didn't understand what I was doing. So I really just started to scratch on paper some of the things I was reading and trying to figure out how to plug my food that I normally eat into these containers to see exactly how I could make sense of it. And as I was doing that, through the process of that, I realized that I actually came up with a pretty good system. And I've passed that on to a couple challengers who have really started to make my system their own as well. And so it's kind of a good down and dirty way to get it scratched out. When I first started, I didn't even realize that you could go on YouTube and find all these crazy resources and go on Pinterest and find other people that were doing the same thing that you were doing. I just kind of was like, you know, this is something I have to do and figure out on my own. And sometimes when you're forced to do things on your own, you come up with a really awesome system. And I kind of feel that's the same way that, you know, that's what happened with me at least. So basically, when I first got the program, I literally thought that you were only going to be eating this amount of containers. And my first impression was like, wow, that's not a lot of food. But then I couldn't have been more far from the truth, honestly, because this is one of the craziest programs in terms of the amount of food that you're actually allowed to have. I personally eat at the highest calorie level. Even the people who eat in the middle or the lower calorie level have even reported back that they feel like they're eating a lot of food. And so that's the number one thing that you have to remember and realize, that you do have to eat every single container that is allotted to you. It's really, really important. That's the one thing that you have to kind of like get rid of out of your brain, is that a lot of people think, I need to eat less food to lose weight, and it couldn't be more far from the truth. You actually need to eat more food to lose weight, to fuel your metabolism. Someone once told me metabolism is kind of like a fire. You want to make sure that you're feeding it tiny little pieces of kindling throughout the day to keep it burning hot and fast. And if you are going to take a large wet log and throw it onto a fire, it's just going to put the fire out. And that's the kind of the same thing in terms of food. So you want to give it small, really nutritious meals throughout the day, rather than one big, heavy, wet meal. Your big, heavy log for a meal could potentially be only 1,000 calories if you're only eating that one time a day. Even though the numbers seem like you would actually lose weight, you might lose a little bit of weight, but in reality, you're just damaging how your metabolism is going to accept and burn up food when you do eat eventually after that. So that was the one thing that I kind of had to get in my head, is I had to eat the amount of containers that was given to me. Like clockwork, day 2, I have challengers who message me every single time, and they always say that this is way too much food for them, and that they're afraid that they're actually going to gain weight instead of lose weight because they're not used to eating that much food. I definitely fell into that same exact category, and I just have to assure you, trust in the process. Trust in Autumn Calories, and know that what they have set up for you is really, I mean, you have seen the results. You see the result pictures, and you know that this actually is going to work. So just kind of trust in the process. I always tell, to pacify people, I say, just give me until the end of week 2. And if you still don't see what you want to see for results, then we'll tweak it. Fully knowing that we're not tweaking anything, because after the week 2, they're going to be like, oh my God, you were right. After a couple of days of trying to get into eating this much food, your body's going to really start to accept all of that, and it's going to get on a schedule, and it's going to want to eat regularly. I know when 3 hours has passed, because my stomach is rat-a-tat-tatting on that door saying, feed me. So you want to make sure that you're listening to your body and really following. If you're hungry, eat. If you are starving at hour 2, the next day, you want to make sure that you tweak your meal plan so that you are eating enough food for that first meal, so that it lasts you 3 hours. So you want to constantly be listening to your body. You never want to be hungry. You shouldn't be hungry on this plan. So if anything, it should be the opposite, where you feel like you don't want to eat the food. So just the biggest thing is to really listen to your body. So to kind of get into how to get started, the first thing that you do is you're going to figure out your calorie level. And that's going to be different for everybody based on their weight. And so I'm going to save you the math for that, but you basically just follow the formula. It's super simple. And then once you figure out your calorie level, you flip over to the page where it gives you your calorie chart. And based on what your calories are, you're going to figure out how many containers you're going to eat for each color. So for me, I'm at the very end of the list and I get like a considerable amount of food. So for example, I get 6 greens, which are vegetables. I get 6 reds, which are proteins. I get 4 fruits. Fruits was actually something that we had not really been eating a lot of fruit for a while, because I had a nutritionist tell me one time that if you were going to eat a banana, you might as well eat a Snickers bar because of the amount of sugar that's in it. And I just took what he said for the word. And as soon as I started eating fruit is when my body started to react and I started to shed weight like crazy. And so I'm not saying that's going to be like that for everybody. It might just be me and my husband really needed to be nourished in a much different way than we were currently doing. But it honestly was a game changer for us. So I get 4 containers of fruit. Most of you are probably going to have between 2-3 containers, and that's a good amount. So be excited that you get to add some fruit into your meal plans. So basically what I did when I first started, I kind of was like, okay, I just see these numbers and I know that I have to start plugging food into these containers. So I took the largest ones and I worked from the largest down to the smallest amount of containers that I could have. I'm a really visual person and I wanted to kind of set it up with the most at the top and the least at the bottom. So I'm just going to switch views here for a second and I'm going to show you how I did that on paper. So basically, let me just get the book set so that you can see both. So basically, I have green, and I have 6 containers of green, and I have 6 containers of red, and I have 6 spoons. So I just wrote them on paper, and I had green, red, and spoons. And then I just did 6 to represent each container. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I did that for the other ones that I also got 6 for those. And then after that, I have, I moved down to the next level. So then the next one that I had was fruit, which was 4. And the next was yellow, which was 4 also. So the fruit is the purple. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I had yellow also, which was 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the other ones that I had left over were the blue and the orange, and I have 1 of each of those. So I just put down blue and orange, and that's just 1 for each. Now, at the same time, as I'm going to start plugging food in, I'm also, at the same time, going to be doing my meals and actually planning out exactly what I'm going to have for each meal. So I usually like to eat 5 times a day. I have a large amount of food to eat. So if my sweet spot is 5, you might be eating 4 meals a day, you might be eating 6 meals a day, but for me, 5 worked really well. And then I also thought in terms of like the time of day. So I did, I usually start my day around 8, and I usually finish my day, well, I finish my day around midnight, but eating, I usually finish around 8 or 9 o'clock. And I don't go based off of that wives' tale that you have to finish eating by 7. It's really based on what time you go to bed. So if you're like me and you go to bed between 12 and 3 in the morning, then, you're going to want to eat a little bit beforehand. Obviously, you don't want to go to bed with a full stomach and you want to be digested before you go to bed, but that's just something that you're going to have to tweak on your own. And I really like to eat about every 3 hours, so I would plan it, so 3 hours from 8, 9, 10, 11 a.m. to, and 5. So it's 8, 11, 2, 5, and 8 is when I eat. Now, the first meal that I do, and I always do a shake in the morning because it's just really the easiest thing that I have ever come across, and it's even before I discovered Shakeology. I mean, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been replacing at least one meal with a really nutrient-dense protein shake because it's a good way to kind of get extra veggies into your meals, or into your meal, into your day. And I'm not like I'm not a salad girl. I can't pretend that I am. I do like salad, but I only like salad when it has cheese and ranch dressing on it. I mean, I would rather eat veggies like raw, like munch on some peppers rather than build it into a salad. So shakes are an awesome way to get spinach and kale into your diet. So I really know that I do that. And then also Shakeology has so much energy. It gives me so much energy and just kind of gets my day started on the right foot. So I always like to plan that at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then I do one whole banana. Now, a banana is actually half a banana is a serving and considered a purple container, but I do a whole banana. I get 4 purples, so I'm okay knocking out 2 of those purples with 1 banana. I actually do a frozen banana, and it really makes a difference in the texture of the shake. So I'm okay with having this count as 2 purples. I also do almonds. I do cinnamon, and I do kale. I'm just going to add kale right down there. So now I knew that I wanted to have this be my first meal. So then what I was going to do is I'm just going to start plugging in what I want to eat into my my chart. So the first thing is kale, and I'm just going to put a little number 1 above there so that I know later on, once you start to fill all of this in, it's going to be easier for you to see exactly what is for each meal. It just kind of helped me plan. So I just put a little number 1 above it. And then the banana is the purple. And I'm going to knock out 2 of those containers because they count as 2. And then the red is the Shakeology. And I'm going to do that with a number 1 because it's meal number 1. And what else did I forget? The almonds is blue. And so actually, I kind of skipped over that. So the way that you figure it out is you go to the approved foods list, and here's Shakeology. And you can see Shakeology counts 1 scoop of Shakeology equals a red container. You also can see all the other different types of proteins that you can have. So I usually tend to do like the Shakeology is the big one. I do a lot of ground turkey. I do a lot of chicken. Let me see what else. I mean, we did get Greek yogurt because it was on the list, but that was like very early on. We really don't eat Greek yogurt, but I just got it because I was like, oh, it's on the list. But like, I don't eat Greek yogurt, so I don't know why I put it on there. But, you know, you can have those different things. I mean, you can even have ham slices if you want. I hate when people say fat-free. You know, if you're going to eat ham, cook up a freaking ham and eat some ham. But the low sodium, I guess, I mean, this program is really liberal, I guess is my point. And you can even have turkey bacon. Why anybody ever in their life would want to eat turkey bacon versus regular bacon, I don't even know. But I mean, if that's something that you like, then you can have 4 slices of it. So it's pretty wide range of what you can have. So let me see. So where did I leave off? Okay. So what I was telling you about was the almonds, and the almonds are the blue container. This stupid cord is in my way. The almonds are the blue container, which are right here. And usually for the blue containers, I do almonds. I do the avocado, which are like listed right up at the top. But what's nice is, like how I was saying, how everything's, you know, it is kind of liberal, is that it does allow you to have cheese. So you wouldn't necessarily want to have cheese at every single blue container for every single day. You wouldn't want to necessarily have cheese, but you can have it. So if you have to have cheese, then that's awesome. But just know that anything that's processed, which cheese definitely is processed, is, and you know, anything that's not a clean choice is going to affect your body differently, and it's going to change the results that you get. So you stick to the top of the list, and it'll be a little bit cleaner version of what you're trying to do. So for the almonds are blue. And that's my meal number 1. So I did kale, Shakeology, a banana, almonds, and then the cinnamon is a free food, so you don't have to actually worry about the cinnamon, you know, plugging it in. Then also for my next meal, at my 11 o'clock meal, I know that I'm going to want to do chicken. And my husband and I have really kind of just fallen back on chicken. It's super easy. We get huge packs of chicken. We just cook it all up on the grill, and then it's kind of ready to grab and go. Or we tend to actually separate all of our food out into containers so that our meals themselves are ready to go. But we've really kind of come to rely on chicken. We usually do chicken multiple times a day, but for right now, I'm just going to list chicken one time because I know that this is my chicken meal for number 2. And I'm going to, with the chicken, I usually do some sort of vegetable. So you're going to want to pick different categories and feed as many different categories into each meal as possible. So I want a red, I know I want a green, and I know I'm going to probably do a yellow. So the chicken is the protein, then the green I'm going to probably do, like, I would say asparagus, or we tend to do any type of roasted vegetable that you can imagine. So we do asparagus, Brussels sprouts, peppers, onions, mushrooms. We just kind of chop them all up, rough chop, just get them chopped up, get them on a pan. Sometimes we do a little olive oil over the top, and I mean like a little amount, just enough to get so the spices will stick onto the chicken, or I'm sorry, onto the asparagus, and then bake them. I mean, there's no rhyme to the reason. We literally keep everything at 350 and we just keep rotating the pans in and out until all the veggies are roasted. So I'm probably going to do asparagus for that one. And then I want to stick a yellow in because I do get 4 yellows, and I want to make sure that I get a yellow into this meal because I don't want to load all of my yellows down towards the bottom. I want to make sure that I have, I want to make sure that I have enough of a variety throughout the day. So I usually do sweet potatoes for my yellow. Sweet potatoes. I know how to spell sweet potatoes, I promise. And then, except they spell it differently here in the book than I do. So sweet potatoes are the better choice, obviously, because it's up way up at the top. And then down towards the bottom is where the items are that are probably not your best choice, but they are available for you to have. So like waffles, pancakes, and English muffins, bagels, tortillas, you can have those things. But just know that the cleaner the choice is at the top, and the worst choice is at the bottom. I would say I usually do brown rice. I do sweet potatoes. I'm not a huge quinoa fan. I just I'm working on that still. And we've definitely started adding more black beans in. Black beans and brown rice with some like the Mexican seasonings and stuff. That's like really awesome, and we've kind of started liking that a lot too. So anyway, my sweet potato is going to be right here. And that's still for meal number 2. And so that's listed down here. And then I maybe would add like an apple up here. But that really, honestly, because I have 2 left up here, I might not actually eat the apple at that time because it's 11 o'clock and I'm usually like getting my act together and trying to go. So I'll just grab the apple and bring it with me, or I'll save that apple and plug it into one of these meals, but just know that I have to eat the apple by the end of the day. So that's kind of cool to know that you can, snack on an apple later on. And then so for number 3, and then I just think about what I want to do for my proteins again. And one thing that I do that's really kind of helped us is we do ground turkey. And the way we do it is we just do like a huge family pack of ground turkey. And we just saute it in a pan with garlic and any seasonings that kind of like, whatever it floats your boat. And we just do a huge thing of that. And then we also do a huge thing of like peppers. So I usually do peppers and turkey together, and sometimes what we would do is put it on like a lettuce leaf as like a taco. So this could be like your meal number 3. So you would have turkey, peppers, lettuce, a couple of the big lettuce leaves. I mean, probably like, I usually do like 2 or 3. My husband usually does like 3 or 4. It depends on how many you want and how many you can actually eat in one sitting. So the lettuce leaves count as a green. And so I have, I probably want to stick another another yellow in there too for meal number 3. So I might even do some brown rice. I usually mix the brown rice and the beans together and just account for like it might just count as like 1 yellow. So let me put that down here. So then I would have like a little taco meal. So it's like the turkey, peppers, lettuce, brown rice, and beans. Everything's all seasoned and flavored really awesome. And then you still have, like, I still have like another purple I could add in there if I wanted to. The spoons. I always forget the spoons, and I tend to kind of just wait till the end and then I stick them in places, because I always do coconut oil as one of my spoons, because it's so, so good for you. And then I also do almond butter. Now, what is cool is that you can take the almond butter, you can stick it in Shakeology. You could take almond butter and eat these 3 as a snack with like some carrots, where you could add green in as a carrot snack. So you could have, like, for meal number 4, it might be carrots, an apple, and almond butter, and I don't even know what else, like a little part of another pepper or something, just like cucumbers too. I do a lot of cucumbers because they're super easy to just kind of like chop up. So that could be like a whole meal there. And then the coconut oil is awesome because, like, for the sweet potato, you can take a teaspoon of the coconut oil, stick it on the sweet potato with extra cinnamon, and it just kind of like gives it a really awesome flavor. So it's not just like a plain sweet potato that you're eating. Something else we do with the sweet potatoes too is we cut them up and dice them and put them in a little tinfoil tent and just roast them. My hubby does cayenne pepper and cinnamon together with the coconut oil, and that combination is outrageous. So you should definitely try that. It's really delicious. So I'm not going to finish up these meals to kind of give you an idea of what I do for that, because I don't want to take up too much time. I'm already at 20 minutes, but I would say this is pretty much how I did it. And I forgot to tell you too, over here with this the grocery list, as I'm writing things down, I also put them on my list. So for example, my first meal, I usually have Shakeology, I usually have bananas, I usually have almonds and kale. Kale is a huge bag and it's a very hearty vegetable. So we end up keeping kale for about a week and a half to 2 weeks. So, or I freeze it all. But anyway, that's another video. But, so this stuff I didn't really need to put down on my list, but the chicken I did. So I listed the chicken right at the top. And what I do is I'll figure out exactly how many meals I'm going to be eating chicken. So I might have chicken for this meal, but I also might have chicken further down, and I might do 2 servings of chicken or whatever throughout the day. So I would add another chicken in here. So for me personally, it would be 2 servings of chicken, and then I'd multiply it out by how many ever days I have, I'm planning for. So like, let's say that it's 5 days I'm going to be prepping. I would do 2 servings of chicken multiplied by 5 days. That's 10 pieces of chicken that I personally would need. And then I'm multiplying that by 2 because I'm doing it for my husband too. So, as you can see on my list, I would list chicken, and then I would put the approximate number that I would need. And not that you're going to be able to go to the store and actually see like 20 pieces of chicken in a particular pack, but at least you need about that many so that you can buy the appropriate amount. So it totally beats standing in front of the chicken counter deciding how many, pieces of chicken you need or whatever. So kind of get that information ahead of time. And then the other thing is how I set my list up is I kind of set it up based off of where the stuff is in the store. So I might put all of my proteins in one section. I might put all of my produce and my veggies in another section. I might do miscellaneous stuff here. I might, sometimes I need to add up or get more baggies or whatever. So I kind of list it based off of where the stuff is located in the store, so it's a little bit more efficient. So as I'm planning the meal here and figuring out what's going into each container, I'm also transferring the stuff over here so that I'm good to go and I'm ready. So that's kind of really helpful for me. So the one thing I did want to talk about though is, and where people tend to have like a problem and get kind of confused, is with actually getting the stuff ready for the week. And what my husband and I started doing, and it's been working really well for us, is just cooking a large amount of food on one day and then taking containers and separating out all of the meals into those particular containers. So for example, like with the Shakeology, and I'm just going to reference what we just did here with the Shakeology, the banana, the almonds, the cinnamon, the kale, I literally will take a baggie and we'll set up like an assembly line, and we'll take the banana, and we'll take a scoop of Shakeology, and we'll take the kale, and then we'll take the almonds, and then dump some cinnamon in, and put everything, all the ingredients into a little bag, and then we stick it in the freezer. And we'll do 15 or 20 at a time, and we'll just make up as many as we think we need for that particular, week or whatever, so that those are ready to grab and go. So in the morning, instead of actually having to build that smoothie as I'm walking out the door, I can just take the baggie and I can throw it in the freezer, or I'm sorry, in the blender, and I can grab 3 ice cubes and some water, and then I'm literally done in less than 30 seconds. So that it's like from start to finish, I've made my breakfast. So that's really helped us kind of get things going. And I would say like the same thing goes for the other meals. So for my second meal with the chicken, asparagus, sweet potatoes, and apple, I would take, and for the last couple of Christmases and birthdays, I've asked for Pyrex from my husband and for my mom and whoever else. So I have a ton of Pyrex glass dishes. So I would take the chicken and I would lay out all my dishes, and I would take a piece of chicken and put it in all of my 5 dishes. If we're doing it for 2 people, we would do it in 10 different dishes. And then I would take the sweet potato, and I would put the amount of sweet potatoes, like 1 scoop of the yellow sweet potatoes in each of them. And I would set it all up that way. And then with the asparagus, the same thing. I would take the serving of asparagus that would equal the 1 green container, and I would put it in with that container in that particular Pyrex bowl. I have pictures of this, so I'm going to try to post those too so that you can kind of get a visual for what I'm talking about. But we turn it into an assembly line, basically. And it's almost like we're like we're lunch ladies, and we're getting everything set up for lunch for kids. You get it all lined out, and then you just scoop all the food into each of the containers, pack them up, stick them in the fridge, and we actually separate the stuff in the fridge too. So like meal 1 we know is right there, meal 2 is over here, meal 3 is over here, etc. Same thing with the turkey and the peppers. You kind of get everything put together, and then even stick the lettuce leaves right in the container with it. And that's really something that has helped us, because we found that if we're not prepared and we don't have our stuff with us as we walk out the door, we're stopping off somewhere to buy something and we're not actually following any type of plan. Even if we say we're going to go to Wegmans and eat something really healthy off of the prepared foods bar, it more often than not turns out to be not something as healthy as it would have been as if we were to bring it from home. So that's huge. Meal prep is huge. If you are in Buffalo and you are one of my challengers, I offer this up to you 100%. Like, I will come with you to the grocery store. I love being able to teach people how to actually figure out what's going on with the backs of the nutrition labels and the ingredients versus nutrition, and pick the right foods at the grocery store. And then also carrying that through to your house. So if you wanted me to come help you actually cook and prep and put things into containers the first time through, I'm more than willing to do that. More often than not, I'll bring my own food too, and I'll do it at the same time so that we can kind of get a feel for how that goes. But yeah, definitely reach out if that's something that you are looking for. Even if you're not one of my challengers and you have some questions about how I do it or whatever, I'm more than willing to help anybody who has any questions, because I have a lot of things I want to share with all of you, and I want to make sure that I'm giving back what I've learned over the last 10 years of losing 100 pounds. Basically, I should have said that in the beginning. I lost 100 pounds pretty much, and my husband too. He's exactly over 100 pounds now that he's lost. And we did it the right way. We did it the right way with food prep and being, smart with our choices and educating ourselves on exactly what we are consuming and putting into our bodies. So that was a really long video. I've been talking a long time. I really need a drink. But I think that I might have shown you how to, get everything all set out. And I'm hoping that it's going to be kind of a good tool for you. So that's about it for now. Thanks.